Hello, welcome to another Deck of the Day CGB. As we kind of wind down Magic Duels, it's got a little life left before Arena becomes the public digital face of Magic the Gathering, assuming that you don't like the face of MTGO, which I know many of us don't. So, Duels won't be getting new cards, but we can work on refining it. I haven't been on the Steam ladder very long. It's still a new thing for me. I've done a lot of Xbox and a lot of iOS and a lot of Steam, and all of them are a little different. And now I'm trying to tune the best version of zombies for the Steam ladder. So that'll be this week's videos will be zombies. Last week ramp, this week zombies. And I'm not saying this is the final version. We may do some tuning as we go, as this has been a challenging one. The biggest challenge in Zombieland is that the rarity restrictions really limit the power of the deck, and we're still a few playables, in my opinion, short of a really good zombie deck. So trying to fill out the deck with things that work is a good idea. A lot of the stuff here is obvious, like cryptbreaker, Dread Wanderer, Dark Salvation, a Lord of the Accursed, and diregraft Colossus, and Liliana's Mastery. Now, if you can make a deck with just those cards, you'd be all set, but we have to fill it out because we're in duels. So I think adding white is very important, because without it, we have just horrible 2-drops in mono black. You can play some very good cards like Aetherborn, but then you're not really playing zombies, and then you don't get the triggers that you need to get off your zombies entering the battlefield and drawing you cards and doing things. It also lets you play Grasp of Darkness, so that's kind of a different deck, the mono-black good stuff deck. If you want to play mono-black zombies, you got to run junk like this, like Rancid Rats, Shambling Ghoul. I mean, you can tell me all day that you can build a mono-black zombie deck and it works fine. It does, it's fine. But it's just fine. It's not great, in my opinion. And you end up running things like this because your 2-drop spot is so bad. So once you add white, you get a few little benefits. Binding Mummy is one of them. It lets the deck be super aggressive. It can just run people over if they're not using spot removal. And it really makes zombies a favorite in creature versus creature matchups, which makes it one of the better tribal strategies. You can also run Wayward Servant, which is another reason that you're favored in creature on creature matchups, as it makes the race a lot more in your favor. So that's the best reason. So you get those from white, then what do you get? Your removal, I am a big hater on Time to Reflect. So instead of Time to Reflect, I'm running a Declaration in Stone, because I just kind of want a super trump card in the zombie mirror, and also against tokens is a pretty tough matchup. Getting through on the ground can be challenging. And I want Anguished Unmaking. I want something that cleans up anything from a Glorybringer to a Sky Sovereign to whatever is the big thing. Plus it hits Planeswalkers, which matters as well. And then it's filling out the deck. So a controversial one that I've landed on for now is Selfless Spirit. And another card that's usually in this spot is Smuggler's Copter. And Smuggler's Copter is great. I think we all know that. But Selfless Spirit, at least on Steam, it seems like people are super prepared for Smuggler's Copters. So this deck is not as vulnerable to Reclamation Sage. And it seems like they're also sweeper.deck. Sweepers are still insanely popular on Steam in the meta, whereas I don't see them as much other places. And definitely not in Standard and in Paper Magic. And sweepers are a big problem for the zombie deck, because it's always trying to do a wide board state. So we're going to try Selfless Spirit to mitigate that. It's been okay. I hate that it's not a zombie. Like, I really, really hate that it's not a zombie. But at the same time, there's not a lot of other good protection for against Radiant Flames and against Planar Outburst. So right now I'm running that. Also to fill out the deck, since we can't have more copies of Lord of the Accursed and diregraft Colossus and Cryptbreaker, we just try to get them out of the graveyard if they die. So we have Liliana the Last Hope, which functions as Raised Dead most of the time, but can run away with her zombiness. And we run 2 copies of Gravedigger, which I had Cemetery Recruitment for the longest time, but I figured the card I want to draw most off Cemetery Recruitment is usually another zombie. So this gives you another zombie, and you get the original zombie. So if you have something like a diregraft Colossus or a Wayward Servant or a Binding Mummy, you get the trigger from casting the Gravedigger, and you get the trigger from casting the zombie you get back. Gideon is superpower and pumping up your stuff. We kind of needed more Liliana's masteries in our deck. So Gideon makes the cut as his emblem is what happens a lot, but he can win the game on his own. If you do get swept, playing a turn 4 Gideon is often the best recovery plan. Angel of Invention, also similar to a Liliana's Mastery to pump up your guys or potentially win the game on its own. And then with Liliana's Death's Majesty, we wanted something awesome to get back from the graveyard with her directly into play. Since she costs 5, getting back a 3-drop or a 2-drop isn't nearly as appealing. So having some big cards like Kalitas and Angel of Invention to get back with her really helps. So that's where I'm sitting now. Mana base, I want 25 lands so I can run Westvale Abbey without screwing up my mana. I've got a 9-6 split on the plains because you still want the plains early, but you only need one of them early. You do need dubs by like turn 4, turn 5, but that's not too hard. And since these are one-ofs, you don't draw them that often. So it's not a huge cost if you can't cast them in every game because you don't draw them in every game. Then we got a split of 2 Evolving Wilds to help with Fatal Push and 2 Forsaken Sanctuaries to help with double-costed cards like Angel, Gideon, Mastery, Kalitas, Last Hope. All right, that's what we're going to take out for our first couple games, and let's see what happens. Been up and down with zombies. There are so many draws, and that's really what I'm just trying to weed out of the deck, is those draws that are the weak part of the deck that do nothing and you get smashed, versus the part of the draws that just let you curve awesome do-something zombies into awesome do-something zombies and run opponents over. Trying to maximize that. It is a really fun deck when it works. That hand won't be good enough. It's not a very zombie-centered hand, but it's a very powerful hand, mainly because of this card with this to protect it. Let's give it a shot. And our opponent, right into the Life Crafter. On the draw, we are probably leaning on Kalitas a lot. So let's get started with Event. And see our next card before we decide what to play turn 2, and then talk it out. We also have a long game in Abbey with this hand. We just gotta shore things up. I assumed it was like green-white humans. Now I don't know what's happening. Line Q, what are you up to, homie? Is it a Planeswalker deck in disguise that likes making little dorks? Is it 5-color tokens? I don't know. More land. All right, we're completely in the dark here. Completely in the dark. So I think we'll start with Binding Mummy since it means he can't really attack with this. Save ourselves 1 point of damage since we're not otherwise sure what the right play might be. And black mana does what? It's awkward that he has 2 mana sinks already, but once he gets this online, he'll be able to sink mana into mana. What the hell is going on? Oh my goodness. If this were on Xbox, I'd just assume the collection was not unlocked. I don't know what to think of this. Alright, get in there. And awkward to have a floody hand. So this is definitely a case where 25 lands is biting us a little because one of the Westvale Abbeys is here. We'll see if the Westvale Abbey can make it up to us later or if we should be cutting it. But it never fails. You keep the 4-lander, you rip 2 lands off the top, and you feel very sad. Here comes Harbinger of the Tides. Sure, that's going to return a tapped creature to my hand. And he's not attacking the spirit. Funky. I think we just play Kalitas. Try to let him win this game for me since I don't know how to win it for myself, apparently, since I have no idea what's going on. And with the selfless out, I feel fine about having a Kalitas on the table. And that is one of the good things about this card. It's just uniquely powerful on its own. If he's just running generic creature strategy, it can take the game over. In matchups where we're already seemingly favored, but didn't get a good curve, would be those generic creature strats. What the hell? This is green, blue, what? Lightcrafter's Bestiary.deck. So he needs one more. So he has another turn till he has Black Lotus online. We drew another land, because, you know. Drain or tap. If he blocks with everything, I can sack the Spirit and get 2 zombies. That's pretty good. But why give him the option? So deploy you. Deploy you. Gonna tap what would be his favorite chump blocker, which is this. Send him in. Yeah, we miss a point of drain, but that's okay. I'd rather make sure he can't like quad block and keep my Spirit on the battlefield. Because as good as that would be for me, it wouldn't be good if he untapped to use this in some funky way and blew up my board. Forsaken Sanctuary instead of Evolving Wilds, because deck thinning is an overrated thing in Magic, and we'd rather have this around if we draw a Fatal Push. There's a Smuggler's Copter. So there's a legit card. I don't know about the rest of this stuff, man, but he's about to get his Black Lotus online. We're just going to draw some more land if that's okay with everybody. So, let's see. I don't even have anything to get a zombie trigger with unless I kill something, which I don't have anything that's just going to kill something. But I should send you in because I could sack one of these. If I send this in, he just copter blocks it. So here we go. Just a big old lifelink himself. Yeah, go ahead. And he's going to line up a super block, I'm guessing. I'll let the loot resolve. In case he's making decisions based on something that's not going to happen. Okay. So I think we're going to sack the Binding Mummy, because tapping his stuff isn't going to do too much. He's just got a bunch of dorks, but getting the drains from the zombies we're about to make, that's useful. Yep, drain. Alright, I guess I want to have 3 mana open, in case I want to sack another zombie to Kalitas, so we'll play the untapped land. Hold on to the other 3. Who knows what we'll need those for. Yeah, that's a card. Well, I'm glad we kept the selfless around, aren't you? He's like, but I chose to destroy it. Why is it still there? It's just noxious Gear Hulk off of the green-blue mana base. Is that good? I mean, it's good. Is it lethal? If I still had the Binding Mummy, it might be. But I think we can force him into some bad spots. Drain, down to 7. So he has to block. He has to block at least 2. So he can go boom, boom. He can kill Kalitas, but then he dies to the Wayward Servant trigger. So he has to kill the Wayward Servant. And he's... So, yeah, he doesn't have great blocks. His only great block is to kill the Wayward Servant so he doesn't die to the Kalitas trigger. But that just means I get more zombies. See if he, yeah, that's right. He can't double block Kalitas here, or another zombie enters the battlefield and he dies. Because he would have gone to 1. Again, do I just hold this Evolving Wilds for the Fatal Push? I think so. I still have 2 more land drops. It's not like I'll need it anytime soon. And let's see what our opponent's Pyramid of the Pantheon blue-green deck can do right now. In the moment of truth. In the moment when all else falls away. Can you cast Tragic Arrogance off this? What can you do? What can you do with that? The AI doesn't even know. All right, Nissa for 1. A Planeswalker with no effect on the board. Not the time. Not the time. And it is an Aether Sphere Harvester. What a funky coalition of cards our opponent brought to the table. I can't imagine what quest would inspire such insanity. And yet, here we are. Oh, hit off the top. AI always hits off the top. The AI knows exactly what's on top of the deck. Yeah. Well, Selfless Spirit proved its worth in this game because protect Queen Kalitas. I know it should be king, but I'm making a chess reference. Protect Queen Kalitas is what mattered. And that'll be the first one down. And let's go find number 2. I think we can chalk one for Selfless Spirit there. It went head-to-head with Smuggler's Copter and came out the victor, despite drawing epic land quantities. I think we can give Selfless a bit of a plus in its favor. Nicholas of Reyes, I'm name butchering. That's CGB. No black. Better, closer, warmer. No big payoff zombie. No big payoff till we get to 5, so could be a little messy. It's not the curve out and stomp you, but we're a good draw step away from being in that range. Gravedigger, of course, not what you want in your opener. It's what you want later in the game. And you definitely want it in conjunction with a cryptbreaker or something like that. Uh-oh, Lone Rider, no removal. This one could head the wrong way, but make them have it. Make them pay themselves off. Okay, that's a good draw. Something I can certainly try to work with. Binding Mummy says you can't block probably ever, so don't bother trying. And Eldrazi Displacer. Funky. Not sure how much that hurts or harms me. I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's an annoying card in general, and it's kind of just like, well, I guess that's going to be my first removal spell. I think we get in here. If he wants to use his mana to make my diregraft go away, he only gains 1 life back, so just get in there. Just start getting the job done. Start bringing the pain. And you may as well attack, because blocking is going to be hard. Oh, cast out. That's obnoxious. At least it gives me a window to rip a removal spell. You would be a fool to let me untap with that diregraph. Yep, and he is not a fool today. Bravo. Anguished Unmaking gets it back. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, he's going to go ham. Like I said, blocking, no good against Binding Mummy. So, white Eldrazi deck. Being plenty mid-range and me without removal. Here's a good window to draw one. Not today. Not today. So this can displace tokens very aggressively, should our opponent choose to go that route. That is annoying, as our tokens are important. I do feel like might be one of those games where we only drew the one payoff, and the one payoff got taken away. Gravedigger can't get you out of exile. The classic zombie opponent, white decks, you. Five mana, Avacyn time. Having a thinky. What else do you do for 5 mana? Regal Caracol. That would also be just painful. And here comes some displacement. But we're not getting into that. Thought Not Seer, Reality Smasher. Those are very good cards in this range. If he has none of those, I am lucky. But now it looks like an Avacyn. And now I'm prepared for an Avacyn. But this is frustrating, because I would much prefer to just play this in Jam. But since that's not going to happen, is this permanent? Creature. Okay, I was just seeing if you could blink this cast out. That would be nutty. Alright, well, kind of anticipating an Avacyn. Let's see what happens. Maybe he smells the removal spell too. He's going to displace something? Okay. Sure. I get a trigger from my Binding Mummy, so now you can't block. And now he can't displace... I guess if he has a land, he can displace... If he has a land, he can displace both my zombies, which would be very bad for playing my mastery. So now I kind of doubt he has the Avacyn. So I can spend this turn and unmake this, or I can get back my diregraft. Ugh. We'll just do if we're going. Let's get back diregraft on his turn, then we can tap down his displacer. I think that'll be fun. Plus, we get one more look to see if he has something better that we should be unmaking. Let's see if he attacks. Old move, Cotton. Well, he does have Displacer at the ready. So, like, if I charge up one of these, he'll just bounce it. It's no good. Yeah, we'll just take it. See if he comes up with a way to gain life. I still just want to wait and see what he does on his end step. Or maybe he's just going to try to tempo me out with Displacer. If he plays a creature, we can tap it. I don't know. This is a tough one. Going down to 6 here, so probably thinking about using our Shambling Vents. He's also got these up. Yeah, you gonna do something? You're gonna cast it out again. Okay. And I can do for that. You drew 2 removals. I drew 1. That's life. But now he's got his shields down. Let's see if we can come up with something. Oof. I love it and I hate it. So let's drop this. Can he get through and kill me? I mean, he doesn't have enough damage on the battlefield. Do I play defense? I think I have to. So he can go, if he uses all his mana, he can displace. He has a Rogue's Passage. Defense is stupid, at least for a turn. I need this cryptbreaker to live. So I think I attack with one binding mummy, so if he displaces both tokens, I still have a blocker to prevent him from attacking me. I think that's the line. I really don't want to get suckered into blocking with cryptbreaker. And then we're close. I mean, he's got to do something. We're in range, where we can throw a pretty good strike if we draw the right cards. Also, every life point is a card. We need to make that count. Collective effort. I can hit the mastery. I can plus his boys. Okay, but it doesn't kill a creature. Could be worse. Okay. So still, if he attacks with this, he can displace one, but I can triple block and get it off the field. What else could he have? Let's try to get rid of it. We've got the Gravedigger. Let's see what else he might have. Gideon's Reproach or something like that would be annoying, but it's hard to put him on that. Uh-huh. Play is... What's he targeting? He's targeting that. Okay. So he is losing his displacer on this one. And I'm going to have Binding Mummy Cryptbreaker combo as my defensive method of choice. And that can tap things down at instant speed in case... Ooh. Ooh. Nice. Welcome to the party. See if he's got another exile effect. And we're going to hold the land for the discard. Make a zombie, tap his boy. In case he gives it unblockable, or if that's his game plan. Cast out number 3. Seems good. Seems good. But it didn't get my Cryptbreaker. Go to combat. Tap you down. Gideon. We got a Binding Mummy in the graveyard. And we got a Lord. Alright. Getting there. Getting there. I think I hang on to my Cryptbreaker trigger as much as I don't really want to discard this Gravedigger. I prefer I had its help, but we need to not die. Five is good. Does he have another removal spell? Let's find out. Land. Probably drew that for the turn. So his last card is some kind of ace in the hole. Or it just hasn't been good enough to cast the last several turns. It can't be as good as a cast out. So it's got to be something a little worse. Let's see. Tap your Lone Rider. He didn't draw any of the Eldrazi-ish mid-range cards aside from Displacer. Hasn't been that exciting of a draw, all things told. It's amazing that we got through all these cast outs, but he didn't wasn't able to get Cryptbreaker, as it is a breaker of a card. It does so much. Having a big old think. What could it mean? I just don't feel like there's that much to think about. Oh my. Alright. taking a shot. Let's see what he has. Lets it die. Sweeper. Bruna. Okay, so you need a human to get back. Okay. I think we've got this. So we can make a zombie, we can tap a something, we can give things menace. We're okay. Yeah, he's just dead to menace. He is just dead to the menace. Just do all the tricks for the good of the video. Cut that down. No blockings, unless the AI unless the game forgets how menace works, which has happened before. I've had my menace creature blocked by one creature. I've seen it happen. I had a plague belcher. They had, I don't know, I think it was a Topin free blade. AI did it. It was on stream. I have witnesses. But all right, took a interesting one against white Eldrazi. Cast out .deck. Cryptbreaker, Lord of the Accursed. It was a pretty underpowered draw, but like we got pretty fortunate. The last several draw steps were Kalitas, Cryptbreaker, Lord of the Accursed, which are certainly some of the clutch cards in the matchup. I also think the opponent should not have attacked with the Eldrazi Displacer and traded it for my 2 zombie tokens and 1 Binding Mummy when I had another Binding Mummy. I think that's not a good trade for him. I think that Displacer is so clutch in the long game of just being able to blink tokens. Zombies love their tokens. Ah, man. We have to trust that we can draw lands. We've drawn a lot of lands in our other games. Doesn't mean we will in this one. We've got a good trio here, but then we have cards that are going to do nothing until much later. So we've got to trust in our deck. I will trust you, deck, but man, that is always a fragile arrangement we have. Kuda. Fukuda. F-U, Kuda. Could be read a few ways. All right. I'm a big fan of on the draw having Binding Mummy first and on the play having Wayward Servant first. We'll see if it costs us. The way that it costs you is if our opponent plays a blocker that our servant can't attack through. Then we missed 2 damage. We did an extra drain, gain 1, lose 1, but we missed out on a 2 damage attack. So let's see what our opponent has. Do they have like a Sylvan Advocate? They have a Renegade map. Okay, gamble's gonna pay off. Gamble's gonna pay off. Yay, 1 land off the top. Off to the races. We definitely want Selfless Spirit by next turn, because you know those planar outbursts and such will probably be on their way soon. And removal spells. Our opponent kept a slow-ish hand. Surely they have something to do coming right up here. Down goes the map. Out comes the swamp. We're looking at Abzan. Anguished, unmaking. Hidden stockpile. Okay, Yahenni's expertise, languish. Those cards are really good against Selfless Spirit. A lot of exile going to go on over here, but it looks like it might be a token deck. And I don't have a zombie, unfortunately, so it's just going to be a Selfless Spirit type of turn. Let's see if, but I doubt he wants to block here. He needs to keep his Revolt Factory available. And the real question will be, Anointed Procession on turn 4? Opponent considering the block, considering if they can afford to lose the life, facing down the Binding Mummy and the Wayward Servant. They might be thinking that they won't have another chance to block because of how Binding Mummy works. We've ripped 2 straight lands. Gotta be happy with that. And now we'll put down the selfless spirit, which having even a little pressure in the air is good against the token decks. Smuggler's Copter is better in that situation, though, for sure. But we'll see what it does. Coming in hot. I think that token's going to get sacrificed. Let's find out. Fatal Push. Target. Let's make some indestructible. Hidden stockpile. Well, if they don't have anything else for this turn, like they should have an anointed priest or something like that would annoy me. But if this is most of what they're doing, we're sitting pretty. And it is an anointed priest. Right on. Gain him a life. Alright, so gotta decide if this is worth the Dark Salvation. Oh, we clutched it. Okay. So we don't have to salvation right now. We can just go ham. 3 straight lands off the top. Running hot. It's not even fair, right? I hear ya. I hear ya. The jealous and the haters. It's not even fair. I've had plenty of games that don't go that way, believe me. I've done my time. Okay. Can he punish us for not having the spirit out there? Will there be a planar outburst? Don't think that token decks can't run that card. They certainly can. Especially the stockpile versions, because they rebuild aggressively. That doesn't bode well. Dusk to Dawn would be tight. That's another one that is in some lists and not in others. Another priest, but an implement of improvement. I guess that's the revolt machine in action, but they're missing the land drop. And I think that's going to do it. As zombie doing zombie things. Dark Salvo is going to wipe away and tap down all the blockers, and the beating is going to be legendary. Yep. Complete with drains. Complete with taps. And that's the way that you need your zombie deck to go. That's the zombie deck that runs over anything that tries to block you. I hope you've enjoyed this take on the zombies. Most of what we learned today was that Gravedigger is still not that great, and Selfless Spirit has its times where it's better than a Smuggler's Copter or another 2-drop zombie. So it's got its moments. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'm CGB. I'll see you later.